So it is a sad fact of the world, or at least the data analytics world, that no matter how good your data set is, it's never quite perfect. I hate to break it to you. It just never works like that, right? Like no matter how, or let's put it this way, no matter how close you are to the data team at your firm, the people that actually produce the data, no matter how good they are at supplying you what you think you're going to need, it's almost never exactly what you need. We always have to do calculations to transform columns, to combine columns, to put columns into complicated formulas or models that produce results or predictions. We might have to recode columns. We might have to do conditional logic to transform one column into another or to group things in a column. For whatever reason, one of the bazillions of reasons we encounter in the daily practice of data analytics, columns aren't the way we want them to be. So we have to have some tools to get around this. In this particular series of videos, we're going to be dealing with a number of different ways. Because like when we say we have to get around this, right? Well, get around what? Like, and get around how? It depends. It depends on what the problem is, and it depends on what the data type that we're dealing with is. So we'll see solutions related to when our data are strings of text, also just known as strings. We'll see solutions related to when our data are dates, which are notoriously tricky because of all the weird arithmetic involved with computing the differences between dates and times, and just such a mess. But fortunately, they've handled it for us, but it is still a mess. We'll see things about transforming some numerical columns into other numerical columns, and in particular, like worrying about, well, what happens if we have some data quality issues, like missing values that are going to throw things into a mess. Like we have things to worry about there too. And then finally, we'll be thinking about how do we actually use conditional logic, so this like if then else then type mental framework to transform columns in much the same way as you might if you were building groups or sets. Altogether, this is designed to give us a collection of tools to maybe not fundamentally change the data set, but massage the data set into a form that's much more amenable to telling good stories. This is really what it's about, right? Like we need to get the fields in the data set that will allow us to convince people of things. And if those fields are not yet there, we need to make them. If they're strings, we might have to, if the fields that are going to tell the story are string-based, we might have to have methods for strings. If it's a time series thing, we need to worry about the date times. If it's numerical things, maybe we need to transform those too. Regardless, this series of videos is designed to give you the tools to at least push this forward. Obviously, there's so much more. Like one of the worst things about data science, let me say it this way, is that the data cleaning, the data pre-processing thing just goes on forever. It just goes on forever. It feels like you're never done sometimes because it could always be just that much better, right? But this at least gives us a collection of tools to get us to the point where we can really start developing some visualizations that will sing for our stakeholders.